So let's move on to the next block. As I mentioned, today we will focus on two main aspects. We will start with enhancing access to funding, enhancing access to funding to local level. And we would like to start by giving the floor to David Armellini. He's from the Agence Nationale de la Cohésion des Territoires. Sorry for my terrible French. And he will really introduce a program that they are implemented under in France to support local municipalities to access funding. So improving the local capacities to access funding. So David, the floor is yours, as agreed, more or less around 7 minutes.
Okay, thank you. And hi, everyone. My name is David, and I work in the Rurality Department on the National Agency for Territorial Cohesion. This agency manages many territorial programs and develop many forms of engineering for these territories. The ANCT operates in urban and rural areas. And for information, the ANCT co-manages the rural network in France with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Association Région France. And my agency is also responsible in France for the EURDF and the European Social Funds and Interreg programs. And just first at all, I would like to clarify a term that we use a lot in France, and particularly in my agency, it's the term territorial engineering. It's in French also the capacity of identifying problems and designing strategies and solutions to address these problems, design projects and implement them, but it's also the skills for facilitation, the project development, and also the fundraising, for example. Behind the notion of territorial engineering, we find many aspects. So maybe you know in France that in rural development we had French rural agenda for the past year. A major evolution of the rural agenda has led to the implementation of a new plan called France Ruralité. And the ministry in charge of territories and ruralities, Dominique Faure, has put in place an ambitious plan for ruralities in France. A year ago, working groups bringing together more than 300 associations from all rural areas worked on the needs of rural areas. And the proposals of this working group were then reworked between the technicals and the ministry's office to set up a national plan for rural areas organized around 4 axes. And we will talking about Village d'Avenir and the measures France Ruralité. It's a very good tool for different territories. So I focus on these different tools, which are very recent, make it possible to facilitate access to different financing with the support of the engineering proposed by the France Ruralité and Village d'Avenir. The new ANCT program represents a big actuality in France for the rural development. This new program was born following requests from association of elected officials in rural areas. Even if the funds available exists for different themes, for example, with European funds, there was a need in these territories of a person who could make the link between engineering and the rural town. And that's the principle of action is very simple. If you are a mayor of a rural municipality and you have a structuring project or many projects, well, it could be you can apply to be part of the Village d'Avenir program. and you benefit from the help of a project manager who will mobilize all the funding and engineering available to carry out these projects. This can be a restoration of a church, a shared mobility project, a multi-generational housing project, or road improvements. Each territories had its own needs, and the project manager will be there to bring the different projects to realizations. The project manager will be trained and monitored by house services, and all the state tools will be made available to them to make their projects a success. For example, the project manager will be able to set up the strategy for identifying existing funds to finance the project, and will be able to identify also European and state fundings. At the total of 120 project managers are being recruited on the program, officially begins next January. And there will be one project manager per department and two project managers in the most rural departments. France Ruralité is also 32 interministerial measures that offer tools and funding for the various problems encountered by inhabitants in rural area. Some of these problems relate to the difficulty for project leaders and mayors to identify the right tools and funding to carry out projects. And that's why we've created easy-to-use guide for all mayors and project managers to identify the new measures for rural areas, contacts, and also simple explanation to better understand. And I have some examples of tools. One of the most important for the rural area is the VTA, the Territorial Volunteering in Administration. With this measure, a young person aged 18 to 30 to be financed by an engineering mission in administration. The missions are varied: cultural festival, technical construction project, anything related to project can be eligible. Since the beginning, there have been many volunteers who carry out missions on the search of European funding, and in particular, leader fundings. So we have also for us, this measure is one of the major change for rural areas, because in fact the rural municipalities do not have access to reliable legal information, and this situation blocks the talking of the initiative to engage in a European project, for example. And these tools could be changed many situations. And we have also, to conclude, Territoires, and it's a very good tool in France for project managers. It is interministerial open data platform that makes it possible to identify all the French and European funding, public and private, available in a territory. Everything is centralized in one place, and the project manager can have the information on the funding that exists to finance to its project, for example. With this website, and after I finished, it's also possible to consult the most largest project database available in France. So if you have a project manager and you need to develop an intergenerational co-housing project, you can consult all the similar projects in France, see what European or French funding they have obtained, and find the contacts of the mayor and the project manager if you have any questions. And we will soon starting the training of the project manager Village d'Avenir, and it's the one step for identify all these subsidies, these fundings. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this information has been clear, and I'm at your disposal for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David, for your presentation. I think it's a very interesting approach coming from the rural agenda. We started discussing ways to break silos. In France, it's an excellent example of putting together a rural vision within their agenda and plan actions to improve local capacities with this network of policy managers having a database of all the projects, of building and making the knowledge and experience more accessible. So thank you very much. Very interesting, very linked to the topic of enhancing the local capacities for accessing funding. So we will touch now upon the second topic we want to deal with in this first block, which is about simplifying rules. And in this respect, we would like to learn from the experience in Finland on the use of simplified cost options as a way to facilitate the access as well to funding for many local initiatives. So I'd like to welcome Noora Pehkonen from the Finnish Food Authority. Noora, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. The floor is yours for your intervention, and as for any speaker, around 7 minutes, please.
Yes, thank you. And hopefully you hear my voice. And,
yes, very well.
Thank you. Good. I share my screen. Now, I think it's hopefully okay. So hello, everyone.
Well,
my name is...
We cannot, I personally cannot see this.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll try again.
Yes, it seems it's launching something. Yes, now it's perfect. Thank you,
Okay.
Noora.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Noora Pehkonen. I'm from the Finnish Food Authority, and we are also the paying agency in Finland and working with the rural development supports. And I will tell you a little bit of our experiences with the simplified cost options. And we have used the simplified cost options in last program period. We had 3 different kind of models in use. So we used these flat rate models and a lump sum model. But as you can see, we have in this new CAP period, we have chosen to use much more of these simplified cost models. And we have still these flat rate models. We changed the percentage a little bit. So now we have the flat rate 19% and flat rate 40%. And especially this flat rate 40% model, it is really administratively easy to the applicant and for us in administration as well. So I think this is going to be quite popular in Finland. And then we still have this lump sum model, and the other ones, these are new models for us. So we will have this preparation money for certain type of project. For example, smart village projects and EIP projects. And this is a standard lump sum. So it's 5,000 euros, and it's meant for example, partner church or preparing the project. So it's easy to the applicant to apply and implement the project. And after this preparation money, you can apply a bigger development project, for example. And for businesses, for business supports, we will have about 10 different kind of standard lump sums. I will tell you a little bit more about this in next slide. And we also will have this standard percentage for covering holiday pay, holiday compensation, and employer social security contributions. So this is something that also simplifies for the applicant, the process for the applicant. And for leaders, we have this new flat rate model for lax running cost and animation, and also this preparatory money preparing for the next coming period. So for after this current period. And for farm advisory services, we have this standard hourly rate, and farm investments, we use standard unit costs. So quite a lot of different kind of models that we have. Then a few experiences from this last programming period. So with the flat rate, we really didn't have any problems. These flat rate models, they are really easy for applicant and also to the administration. And the flat rate models were really popular in Finland, especially in bigger development projects. And in lump sum, there has been a little bit more challenges, but most of our lump sum projects were quite small and in investments, and that's because they are easy to verify. And in lump sum project, the challenge is that there can't be any changes in the projects, and that was a challenge because especially in last program period, there were quite a lot of changes in markets, increase in prices, delivery delays, and that sort of things, and that was a challenge for lump sum projects. And lump sum really needs a new way of thinking. I think this is something we still have some work to do, but we are on our way. And lump sum it is going to be easy when everyone in the process understands what it's all about. And then a few points of these new SCO models. I won't go through all of them because of the time, but some of them. So this new standard percentage for covering holiday pay, holiday compensation, and employer social security contributions. We use this in project supports, and this is used whenever there are salary costs in the project, and the standard percentage is 39% from the salary costs. And our IT system calculates this automatically, so the applicant doesn't need to calculate this by themselves. And then we will make possible to use two different SCO models in the same project. So it is possible to use the flat rate when making the cost estimate, and then use a lump sum when applying the payment. So this makes the granting of the support also easier. So it's not only the payment that is going to be more simple. And then these standard lump sums for businesses. So we have about 10 different standardized lump sums, and here are a few examples. So if there is business planning, you can apply a 1,000 euro grant for that. And if you're starting a part-time business, it's 5,000 euros, and full-time business, it's 7,500 euros. These are really easy for the applicant. They only have to apply the money and then do the project and document it and then apply the payment. So these should be very easy, and these are used in leader subsidies. And then we have this new kind of small scale project model, which we have tried to make as simple as possible. So projects that are up to 8,000 euros are this small scale, and they are always a lump sum project. So there isn't any other option to use. And we have tried to make this make other simplification as well, so we don't require as much information as in other or bigger projects. And then finally, the new flat rate model for lax running costs and animation. It has been we have really good experiences so far. We don't have any experience with the paying phase of the this one, but hopefully next year we will get this as well. And then the last slide, we had this external study which was commissioned by the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry in Finland, and it was carried out by KPMG. And most of our SEO models are based on this external study. And as you saw, we have many new models for this gap period, and we hope that this simplifies the whole process. So applying and granting and paying of the support. We think that these cost models make it easier for beneficiary to get to the aid, and especially in the payment phase. This makes it more simple. But of course, it simplifies also the whole process. We think that the focus should be on results and effectiveness, and this is one way to get there. So maybe later this period we have more experience of these new models, but we think this is something that is the way to think of these simplifying rules. Thank you. This is my presentation, and if you have any questions, I try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noora, for the very detailed presentation, very technical, and actually with very good results. There's going to be a dedicated group to discuss about this option. You will hear as well other examples on how they have been using as well simplified cost options in Leader. But before, and also the umbrella projects in Sweden. So that's going to be a very interesting group. Thank you very much, Noora. And now I would like to enter into the other topic that we will discuss today, which is about facilitating access to complementary funding. Basically dealing with the issue that even when grants are given to beneficiaries, they still face the issue of the co-financing part, or even start investing and putting money in advance. So we would like to hear an experience from Spain in Extremadura about a partnership that was built between the Leader network and the regional bank. to support beneficiaries in that respect. So I'd like to welcome Diego Curto, manager of the local action group Valle del Ambroz in Extremadura, to please introduce this example. So Diego, I think
Hello.
yes, you are. You can start sharing your screen, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me to share this experience. I will share right now. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, it works well.
Perfect. Well, there we are in Extremadura region, west side of Spain, nearby Portugal, and I will talk you about our experience. Okay, now it allows me to, yes, I can pass the slides. Well, the first point, Enrique told perfectly the first point for entrepreneurs in rural areas. We work with leader funds. We have been working for more than 25 years, and in a regional level, we are 24 lakhs here in the region of Extremadura. But entrepreneurs have to pay in advance all the grant before they get the money, and they also have to pay the co-financing amount. And it is difficult for them to get access to credit. And also these days, at least in Spain, banks are closing their offices in rural municipalities. So there is also a new problem, is financial exclusion. The solution for us, well, since the starting of lakhs in Extremadura, the beginnings of year 20th century, 21st century, we have been working with regional banks. I don't know, in Spain there is a kind of banks with a social focus called Caja Rural. The difference between a usual bank is some of their benefits they reinvest in the social projects in the areas in which they work. And we have been working with several banks. Now the agreement has started with this Caja Almendralejo. The agreement, we make the agreement in common, all the 24 lakhs. Now we have signed 22 out of the 24 lakhs. This is the map of Extremadura with the lakhs. The terms of the agreement. Well, the most interesting thing is that it includes special financial terms for entrepreneurs, including the advance of the grant and also project financing. As you can see, and here there is an advance of the grant. You can see the interest rate here in the slide, up to 24 months, and they also give credits for project financing depending on if the warranty is on personal credit or a mortgage. The interest rate changes, but there are quite interesting conditions for the entrepreneurs. And they also have some special conditions for the lakhs, because we also need financing. Some of these special conditions, for example, I was talking about finance exclusions in rural areas, and they commit to open at least one office in the area. That's especially interesting for old people, but also for entrepreneurs, because we are used to work with online banking, but sometimes we need to make some make some things presentially, and we have to manage things with the banks face to face. They also give us some money, as you see in the slide, some for the regional network, some for the LAC that is subscribed in the agreement. And well, it's not a big amount, but it's interesting because it's money that the LAC can use on their own. Some lessons after I'm showing the last agreement with Caja Almendralejo, but as I told before, we have been working with banks for 25 years. At some periods, a representative of the bank was also in the main board of the LAC. It's useful to have this agreement, but still credit access is still hard, as I say here, because risk evaluation is sometimes is quite difficult, especially in periods in which the banks are strengthening the credit line, but that's difficult. And it's easier when there is direct contact, when you have some representative of the bank in your board, because they know in first hand the project, the entrepreneurs are applying for funds to LAC, and they know perfectly when they live in the area. They know the entrepreneur, and they know that if they have real capability of carrying with the project and have success on the project, so they can help them with the risk evaluations, and it's easier for them to get a credit. But anyway, our experience says that the entrepreneurs takes the best offer of banks. So those entrepreneurs with money that don't have a big problem to access into credit will get the credit in any one bank with the best offer. But those entrepreneurs that are with smaller projects, starting projects, young people, still have problems to access to credit. Despite this is helpful, as I told, especially when the bank is in the board of the LAC. And well, that's our experience. There are my links if you want to talk with me after the meeting, or of course I'm open for questions, and we'll talk later in the groups. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Diego, for the introduction of this experience. I think you managed to facilitate access to financial resources to those that want to implement projects on the ground. I think we have a bit of time. I'd like to see whether there are any particular questions that someone would like to ask to the previous speakers. Please raise quickly your hand. Oh, yes, Edina, please go ahead.
Thanks. I think, yeah, all three presentations were very inspiring. Thanks a lot. I think they all go into the practicalities. I've got a specific question to David this time. I would like to know, like, do you have a special profile for these project managers that help the local communities? That's one question. And is it a focus as well to create synergies between the different projects supported within a community, or how they are actually selected? Thanks.
Yeah, we have more than 30 project managers recruited, and we have many different profiles. We have architect, we have engineers, we have manager projects in a lag of leader. We have so that's why it's very important for the training to have the same level of understanding of where is the good funds of anything, because everyone is different for the different studies, for example.
Thank you, David. I see another hand raised. Diego Curto, please.
Thank you, Enrique. Yeah, I thought to understand Noora and you, Enrique, talking that from Rural Pact it's a group working on simplified costs. Is that true? Because it will be very useful for us. I was hearing very interested the presentation from Noora, because
Yes,
it will solve many of our problems in our last period.
very good. So actually, the group discussion is going to happen now. So we are going to have a exchange. So that gives me a good entry to introduce what are we going to do next. So as I mentioned, in each of the blocks, the way we structure them is that we have these inspirational presentations that we have heard just now, each of them related to one specific group, one specific topic. So now we are gonna be divided into different groups to discuss particularly among two questions. The first one is, what are the approaches within each of the particular topics and solutions that work well? And how can we make these solutions happen? So again, within this group, we will have around 1 hour. You will hear additional examples. You will have the opportunity as well to share your experience around these particular topics. And then we will have a discussion facilitated by a colleague of us. The three groups now in this round are going to be Group 1, enhancing local capacities, Group 2, simplifying rules, and Group 3, facilitating access to complementary funding. As you can see in your name, you have a number in front of your name in Zoom. That was put there to facilitate the allocation. You have been pre-allocated based on your registration form and information you shared in one of these groups. But don't worry, if you want to change, also you can always move back to the plenary, and a colleague of mine will be there to help you to join the group that you wish. We pre-allocated everybody to make sure that each group has more or less a balanced number of participants. But we know that perhaps we were not right on our first allocation. So really, if you feel strongly about changing the group, in Zoom, it is possible for you to just leave the specific breakout. You will get back in plenary, and a colleague of mine will be there, Benetta, will be there to allocate you to the right group. So if this is clear for everybody, let me see the chat if there are any questions.
There was an interesting question from Hartmut actually to Diego about public procurement, and is it possible to sign an agreement
yes,
with a selected bank?
Thank you, Ursula. So Hartmut, can you unmute yourself and ask the question to Diego? If you can.
Yes, hello everybody. Thank you for this really interesting webinar. Yes, my question was, I have to start this way. We have the same problem in most of the German LACs as well, that even mostly the small associations who apply for money, that they have to pay the whole costs in advance, and it's very difficult to get the money. and the communities, they are not allowed to give a loan to the applicants because of the competition. This would be with the local banks. So I find it an interesting way that was presented, but my question is this compatible with yes, procurement laws or competition laws?
Well, in my opinion, there is no problem. As I told in the presentation, this only is an offer, a special offer for the entrepreneurs with better conditions. Not always better. Sometimes the banks that are not in the agreement offer better conditions for the entrepreneur because they see that the project is interesting for them. So there is an open competition among the banks. They only give priority or better conditions for the entrepreneurs, but they don't have any other advantage over the rest of the banks. Well, there is a small advantage for that because if they are in the main board of the LAG, they know the projects that they are applying. So perhaps they know the customers or possible customers before the competence, but that's the only advantage because anyone, any bank can offer the loans or the credits for the entrepreneurs.
Okay. So let's bring this discussion. I see more questions. As I said, we have pre-allocated you. If you want to really, you have strong feelings to really change, you can do so. Just leave in the breakout and then a colleague will help you. So now I would like to ask Benetta to move us all to the breakouts. We will be there for 1 hour, then we will come back in plenary. Okay.